Okay. At 6:30, I'm called to order meeting number 1874 of the East Windsor Planning and Zoning Commission. We are live in the John Daly meeting room of the town hall as well as on the Zoom platform. We have a quorum. We have 4 regular members present. Do we have any added agenda items?
We do not.
Okay. There were no legal notices. So we're at the public participation portion of our meeting. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to comment on something that's not on tonight's agenda? We do not have anybody logged on through Zoom, so we will move on. Approval of minutes. We will not be able to approve the last meeting minutes because there were only 3 members present at the last meeting, and they are not all present here this evening. So can I have a motion to what would we call it? Delay, postpone, or
Postpone.
can I have a motion to postpone the vote on the
I'll make a motion to postpone the vote on the approval of minutes from the May 14th, 2024 meeting.
We have a motion to postpone the vote. Do we have a second?
Second that.
Stacy. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. We'll postpone the vote on those minutes to the next scheduled meeting. Yeah, we turned up the volume inside the custom, maybe not speaking as loud as they usually do. Okay. Receipt of applications, we had 1. PZ 2024-08. The applicant owner is Jared Bordeaux. I'm sorry, my information is that really bad. NNRC Association LLC, located at 74 Bridge Street, is requesting a special use permit for a commercial use entertainment venue to serve food, drinks, and alcohol in accordance with Section 805 alcohol sales of the East Windsor zoning regulations, map 111, block 3, lot 8, zone warehouse point WHPC. This application will be heard at a future meeting. Performance bonds, actions, permits, and extension, road acceptance, we have none. We have no continued public hearings, no new public hearings. Old business, we have PZ 2024-07, site plan modification at 225 South Main Street. Map 22 and 23, block 01001, map M1, the owner applicant is East Windsor Investors LLC. The applicant has requested that we discuss this at our next meeting on June 11th. Can I have a motion to move the discussion of this application to June 11th?
I'll make a motion to postpone the discussion on PZ 2024-7, the site plan modification at 225 South Main Street till our June 11th meeting as requested by the applicant.
We have a motion to move the meeting on this. Do we have a second? Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Yes. Okay. New business. We have an 824 referral, South Water Street parcel, assessors map and block 101-05015.
Parcel was identified on the tax collector's tax sale list, and it is located on South Water Street, right as Spring Street. comes into South Water Street. The town owns an adjacent parcel there. They're small parcels, but it's adjacent. And given that we have plans, Warehouse Point study and the Route 5 corridor study that talk about bike paths, walk paths in that location, I thought it made sense that the town might want to put a bid in on that parcel. And so the memo before you talks about those studies. It locates the parcel for you and shows some excerpts from the two studies where they've identified that area. And in order to put a bid on this, we have to provide a referral.
So it obviously goes out to the general public. The bid.
Yes,
Anybody.
the town would put a bid in.
And the town is more interested in probably the property, because it comes with adjacent property across the street.
It's
Is it a
not- it's
house?
on the same side of the street, so it's on the
At the
riverside.
riverside.
It's on the
Okay.
riverside.
Mm,
So the paths, the bike paths or walk paths would be
on the
riverside.
riverfront.
Right, so the town already owns the parcel directly adjacent to that.
Can't hurt
Is
it.
it a volunteer park? Or is it
No.
further down?
It's further down.
But when I do recall, when we had the Warehouse Point study, that was one of the long-term plans that we could develop some type of a riverfront bike path, walk path.
Or-
So
Yeah,
it's a long-term process to acquire enough properties, but I guess as they come available, we should definitely, try to make that come true.
So basically, we're just giving referrals to Board of Selectmen and let them.
Say that, yeah,
All right.
In order for them to move
Forward.
this commissions.
we have to be in favor of them acquiring that property.
Can't hurt.
If anybody else have any questions or comments?
it's a good idea.
So, anybody has anything else? I'll entertain a motion for positive referral.
I'll make a motion to make a positive referral for Connecticut General Statutes 8-24 and recommend the East Windsor Board of Selectmen bid on property located on South Water Street, known as MBL 101-5-015 as part of the June 11th, 2024 tax sale. Finding that the parcel is adjacent to a town-owned parcel, which is located along the Connecticut River in an area that has been identified as suitable for bike or walking trails in the Warehouse Point study.
We have a motion for positive referral. We have a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We had on our agenda for informal discussion with Mr. Frank Rinaldi, but we don't see him present. So
He was tentative when I spoke to him.
perhaps we can offer an opportunity at a future meeting. Next item we have is the CEO report.
The Skylark Fair Park, that's been on there quite a while, and waiting for an as-built. I'm gonna suggest we remove this. The work has been done out there to repair, actually it was a wetlands violation.
It's been over a year. It's been over a year since. Is there a limit?
There's no response for the as-built.
Well, the owner.
That's Bill.
It was requested as part of the wetlands NOV to get an as-built.
So is the owner not available?
Or they're not willing because.
You know, you know where the owner's at.
Oh, I didn't know the date. All I know is there's no response. But I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
See in your eyes.
I don't think he can respond.
Yeah, okay. All right, so We'll look for another
The
avenue there.
wetlands violation is solved.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's one of the terms and conditions that still hasn't been met. I mean, is there anything else that we would want to look at as far as like a lien on the property or anything like that to prevent a conveyance until this is met, or?
I'll bring it to the wetlands commission. I'll have Daniel do that, to see where they're at.
In case of, you know, the circumstances are that the land needs to convey to somebody different or something.
Is it an operating airport?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Fly my house every day.
I just want to drive by, I never
see if
see.
there's someone else to talk to.
Planes
It's
moving.
probably an executive.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't really thinking about why.
It's got a company set up that handles. all-
Somebody's got to be.
Yeah, paying the bills.
Yeah, thank you. So 246 South Main Street, we talked about that. That is still in the hands of the town attorney.
So I see a truck out there that's been full of wood for like the last 2 weeks, is sitting there. And haven't moved up.
It's a big job. Good job. 140 South Main Street rear, that's a wetlands filling, and the owner has hired a contractor to come up with a mitigation plan for inland wetlands. Wetland array, and then we had, I guess further down, we talked about that. West River Farms. The, there's a few things moving on that one, but for as far as, no open enforcement, but we are dealing with the erosion and sedimentation controls, making sure they're in place and not getting COs until we have some other issues cleared up that are legal in nature. This yellow one's closed. Oh, this was up on North Road, one of the mobile homes. Had a deck put on that was close to the next, yes. And that's coming down. What to do with the trash and the dumping along the river? Something new happened here. I don't know more about that. 142 South Main, they were a no-show at their appeal request for ZBA. And so we reached out to give them the opportunity to come back for the next thing. The board rather, June 4th. So they're going to be there. And then we had a second appeal on 118 Phelps, and they withdrew their appeal today. I'm working on a doctor plan to clean up that property. What's the name property? And then some of the other items like 60 Miller, there's progress, and Danielle continues to track. There's a lot of cars being moved, and so she's in conversation with folks, and they're moving stuff along. So that's good. The other two that have closed have to do with banners. She got some good momentum there. She just did the sign sweep, so as soon as something goes up, she's.
It's like she does a sign sweep, then does a car sweep, and then go back and do a sign sweep. And
Well, it's effective, but a sweep is fresh in people's minds.
yeah.
And, no, sorry, I just made everyone take those down. You can't have. It's a, it works.
I mean, look at it as
Shorter.
Shorter and shorter, and you know, some big things are happening. She does a good job. She's keeping on things, yeah.
Okay. Next item, we have is some working drafts with some potential zoning regulation amendments.
Virginia, put this together, we have had a running, tab of, when stuff occurs to us, if we're on sticky, it's put aside, that when the regs feel like they could be improved, as we're trying to implement, make it clear. So most of what these changes are going to go with that, things that have popped up as, needing some attention, and one of the big ones, Mike had noticed early on is that we talk about a lot of things in our regulations that we actually don't define in our regulations. And one way to make them work better is to have solid definitions. And so in this working draft, we have provided some terms, or they're not new terms, they're new in our section, but they're in our regulations. We're going to try to define it. So service establishment. Personal and professional service establishment is a type of business that primarily provides service or assistance to the public rather than sell goods. Legal services, accounting, marketing, counseling, event management, salon, creative service, graphic design, putting in the examples, IT services. Catering, a business or individual that supports and or serves food to be consumed off premises in the property. Prepared grab-and-go food, prepackaged, ready-to-eat food items, often sold at a self-service refrigerator or something similar.
How's that different from like the grocery store?
Well, if we think about
Grocery stores could include.
Right, they have
Yeah.
that
they
too.
have that too, but we, you know, the prep food, like you go in there and get like prepared, but so to say,
Sandwiches,
yeah,
$3.
pre-made meals that you could eat up at home.
What that shape
The old
shows
premise,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, crafted kitchen.
Yeah.
But also the gas stations too, but
Have
Okay.
now.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But how would this, would a food truck work into this also, or?
We have, did we sign food truck? We
Food
do.
truck's
We
not-
have a definition. It's not, but we have a definition for food. Funeral home, a mortuary, a building used for the preparation of the deceased for burial and display of, and rituals conducted there before burial or cremation. It may include a funeral chapel. Contractor's office / storage yard. Storage yards operated by or on behalf of a contractor for storage of large equipment, vehicles, or other materials commonly used by the contractor for services off-site. Storage of scrap materials used for repair and maintenance of contractors' own equipment, and buildings or structures for use such as offices and repair facilities.
That has more to do with storage than the actual office stuff. Because you're going to the contractor's office / storage, so there's not a lot there
Is
that really
office.
has office.
Yeah. I would agree. Are you suggesting we
strike
strike
the word
the word
office?
office?
Yeah, I don't see anything that
Yes.
defines what an office is in that definition.
It's like, yeah, I got an office.
A place of that.
Yeah,
So only in the definition, yeah. It's in the definition that it could, that any building on site could be used for. So if we just take office out of there, it's in the definition. Commercial vehicle, any motor vehicle designed or used to transport merchandise, freight, or persons in connection with any business or with any business enterprise.
Sometimes you see people's regular cars have commercial plates.
That's a vehicle thing.
Yeah. So How do you differentiate that?
My understanding is that combination is if you're dual using it as personal and
Work.
commercial, but commercial is strictly supposed to be for business use.
Okay.
Again, that's a DMV thing.
Yeah.
We're just defining it because I'm sure it has to deal with storing and parking in commercial vehicles. We're defining what a commercial vehicle is.
Yeah.
What are town right now, like, want to bring one commercial vehicle home? Supposedly that's lettered, that's what they say.
Like somebody might use their car as with sales brochures in it, and they go around and make service calls. Is that a commercial vehicle?
Can't imagine that with RV homes and commercial.
Right.
Right, that's like a.
And this is usually
But
okay
that's-
with outdoor storage too. If it's in a garage, it doesn't matter at all.
No. It's just
But I
because
think-
cars get used for a lot of purposes.
I think this was probably more to help with people who use a combination plate and say, I don't have it registered as commercial. But it's pretty well known that it's being used as a
Or
commercial
it's-
vehicle.
A business car where it's got
Lettering.
big help, yeah, all over.
Bituminous surface. Like, let me know if there's anything misplaced here. Bituminous. Of the nature of bitumen. Created from black, sticky substance such as tar or asphalt. Used in the making of roads or roofs. Bituminous concrete consists of coarse and fine aggregate, mineral filler, and is designated bitumen. Millings are bituminous and can be used alone or as the base of asphalt. Pavement or paved surface, a uniform, hard, and durable material composed of sedimentations. Concrete and asphaltic concrete that is poured or laid, which forms a solid continuous surface.
So pavers don't fit that
No.
definition because it's not continuous, it's bricks.
Right. Pervious surface can be porous or permeable. Porous surfacing allows for the infiltration of water across the entire surface, while permeable surfacing is formed of material that is itself impervious to water. But by virtue of voids, formed through the surface allows the infiltration through the pattern of voids.
So that's what it is. It's purpose.
Commercial recreation indoor, an establishment providing recreational activities predominantly indoors. Examples of this use include movie theaters, music venues, bowling alleys, indoor skating facilities, amusement arcades, indoor shooting and archery ranges, tennis and similar courts, recreational crafting activities, fitness centers, and similar establishments where the predominant recreation or entertainment activity takes place inside a building where the consumption of food and beverage may occur, but is not the primary activity.
So we don't have to make it in all inclusive, it's just those are examples. So that, you know, pickleball or
Yeah,
axe
right.
throwing or anything else like that.
Just a- Commercial recreation outdoor, a commercial facility devoted to passive or active recreation where activities predominantly take place outdoors. Examples of this use include outdoor swimming pools, outdoor athletic fields or courts, and similar facilities where predominant recreational activity takes place outside of the building. Campgrounds. Property made available to persons for camping, whether by tent, trailer, camper, cabin, recreational vehicle, or similar device, and includes the outdoor recreation facilities located on the properties. Campgrounds does not include a manufactured home community or mobile home park.
Do you maybe want to throw in the word temporary then to make that
Temporary where?
just something
For
where,
camping.
you know,
At the beginning.
right, for
Oh.
temporary use versus, you know, like saying, a mobile home
Property
park
made available
on a temporary basis or something like that.
persons for temporary.
So,
Yeah, I don't know if we just.
Property made available temporarily to persons for camping.
I like that.
three seasons.
So you can't live, so you can't live year round in a camp. So
Yeah.
Do we need to define what temporary is?
Not permanent.
That's what, how the alphabet, we get to the T's, you know?
Food truck, a motorized vehicle or mobile food unit which is temporarily located on a site to sell food items to the general public.
Is it temporary?
Temporary, yeah.
So I can break it every 6 months.
But to the so if they come to a private party in somebody's backyard, like a pizza truck,
That now
That's
falls under
food truck.
catering.
oh, that's catering, okay.
So, yeah. And we use it in the outdoor dining.
Like you go temporary,
Okay.
events, you define
Yeah,
temporary right here.
Yeah.
There you go.
Any event held on private property which is open to the general public with or without an admission fee, whether for profit or not for profit. One event is 1 to 14 days and may include, but is not limited to, any race, walk, festival, concert, circus, carnival, parade, rally, religious service, company or organization picnic, or pop-up vending. This definition excludes sites that legally exist with an event that is ancillary to the existing use.
So no matter what, they're still gonna come see us.
Well,
This is the definition, so. Yeah. You're talking about the exclusion,
yeah, what
Yeah.
would be an example of that?
the CAD, like the place that just got approved in Sophia's Plaza, Lenotes,
Okay.
get confused with Lenoche. Lenotes, like they,
Event facilities.
Yes.
Church.
or the churches that have, activities and events.
Woodstock.
Okay, recreational vehicle includes, but is not limited to, any motorhome, trailer, camper, dirt bike, pocket bike, mini cycle, all-terrain vehicle, watercraft, or any other form of transportation used primarily for recreation or relaxation.
So a bicycle is a recreational vehicle?
I don't think
I don't
it's
either,
not that's not a pocket bike.
no,
Pocket
but
bike is like a small little
Yeah.
mini motorcycle.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
motorized.
What about the new electric bike?
Yeah, I was gonna say that that's the problem now, the electric bikes now, that's the issue.
Let's see.
Yeah, cause the cops will, they go over 50 now and the cops
They
will
can
do,
go that fast.
they go that fast. So they're like, well, it's not a motor, it's not got gas, it's, you know, it's a bike. You can pedal it, but they go like 45, 50 miles an hour cruise. So I would put something different in there for e-bikes.
Oh, are you gonna like,
Motorized?
where does it,
Is that what you're getting at, the
there's a
motorized?
motor,
Motorized bicycle, would you consider a motorized bicycle, that'll cover your e-bikes, and they have the little 2-cycle gas engine ones.
but it's just like helps you get up, hill.
Yeah.
It's just got a little
Only
battery.
cars.
You see a lot, no, they're a lot more than that now.
I mean, they have some real
They
fast.
got,
Oh, okay.
yeah, they got some other stuff out, more stuff. I watched the reels on, and it showed this cop pulling a bike, and they're like, hey, it's an e-bike. It's not powered, but these guys want 50 on the road. Like you can't have this thing in the street.
But where in the regs do we use recreational vehicle and what's that gonna do to a bicycle? With a battery, yeah.
I think it's just related to storage. So. it's
So if
really
you
not-
store it in your garage, no one cares. Right, okay.
Truck terminal. Building, structure, or parcel where trucks or transports are rented, leased, kept for hire, or stored, or parked for remuneration, or from which trucks or transports are dispatched. The use may or may not include an exchange of merchandise. I think really this could be in this one.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think, I mean, there's cross-dock situations where you could technically not dispatch a vehicle from there, because that has to deal more with domiciled vehicles parked there, so. Like a transfer station or something like that.
One words in that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'm thinking about. But I mean, I think it's all or, yeah, I mean, it just simply, you know, if we just throw in the word, you know, transfer of merchandise, right?
Instead of exchange.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, instead of exchange, use transfer, because that would cover transfer terminals.
We have a note in here from her to define front and rear side yard. Event venue. A business that is engaged in leasing out a location for private events, including but not limited to weddings, conferences, and parties. Such space may contain an area for catering, preparation, and storage, and a bar setup, but not a permanent kitchen for a bar. The venue may include the outdoor use of an approved space or area adjacent to the building.
So kitchen, because most places, they want a place to really reheat stuff.
Right, and I think preparation, storage, their bar setup, but not a permanent kitchen. I think that's what you're.
Well, yeah, okay, the bar setup, the permanent bar meaning not permanent sale of alcohol, not the actual physical structure of the bar. So would we want to then maybe just say not the permanent, you know, production of food or sale of alcohol or anything like that, or distribution of alcohol? Is okay.
Well, I mean, you could just say a business that is primarily engaged in leasing.
Yeah, okay, I'm thinking that, what is it, the German club over
Yeah,
there?
you got a kitchen.
They have a bar that's open every day.
Kitchen. Permanent kitchen. That's what we do, they want to do over there.
I mean, I think this is sort of, I mean, with all of these, you may have certain uses that are event venues and something else, like sometimes these definitions kind of work both ways. It would only be an issue if somehow defining this sort of created a concern with how it is, like if it changed how the regs treat it.
Well,
But
or does it just create something now as an existing non-conforming use? So what's already out there stays out there, but somebody comes new
Yeah.
and I say, I want a venue with a bar in it. Yeah.
this doesn't obligate you to do anything. If someone says, well, this is if someone shows up and wants to operate a restaurant with a bar and it's not allowed, but an event venue is, they can't come in and say, well, I want to call it an event venue. The commission can still say it's not an event. But I think you could add some language in here which says something like a business that is primarily engaged in leasing or something along those lines.
That's kind of the primary use, but
Right.
but even still, you don't want a permanent establishment of bar or food service.
Well, to me, when I read this, permanent kitchen and bar talks about the physical composition of the space. rather than providing food service or alcohol service directly to the public. I mean, one of the benefits of having access to an event venue is that they tend to have a commercial kitchen.
Yeah.
So I think that it's just adding primary to the front to make that clear, and then clarifying that it's related to the services. You're not providing. But even still, we regulate alcohol services.
somewhere.
Well, to me, I find it confusing where it says you're allowed to have a bar set up, but not a bar. So
So it's
the word bar is
maybe
used
like-
for two different.
Instead of saying it's not permanent, say that it would only be used during events, for use during events.
Yeah,
Not-
okay,
Well,
I mean, I think that's what you're getting.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
there,
it's there,
it's permanently there.
yeah.
Right, okay. I'm fine.
Yeah, only, yeah, something that's only able to be used during an event.
I mean, if event venues are not as of their uses, it doesn't, it's kind of a moot point. This is not going to imply use of the property that they don't have, they would now have. Because the alcohol sales are by special permit at home here anyways. So they wouldn't be able to.
Well, I can rent like a, down the home, American Indian or whatever, like, oh, they have a bar there, right? Like, so they have a bar in the kitchen already. They sell liquor right there.
But the event venues. Like the cat place, right, she doesn't hold a liquor license, but she may have someone come in. Rent that.
So we don't specifically spell out event venue, but we have catering establishment.
It's not the same thing.
So
So we have-
those are allowed by right, B2 and an N1,
Well, catering we defined earlier.
that you don't eat on site.
I don't think there's any alcohol associated with catering in my mind.
So we asked for special. use.
Not a specific line item for event. We're used to it.
Can we put it under services?
Well, so currently. Under the agricultural related uses, there's event hosting.
Right.
But there's something like that cat.
Right.
That we put under.
Service establishment.
Yeah,
So those, again, they are allowed by right in the B1 and the B2.
But they don't get anything related to alcohol because that requires a special permit. And if their primary function is to provide food, then they're not an event venue, they're a restaurant.
Well, in these cases, they don't usually provide the alcohol. The contracting party has to do that on their own, right?
So
Alcohol sales. You throw a wedding and you have a bar,
It's not
it's not covered.
But providing any type of alcohol to members of the public requires a permit from liquor control. They're not,
In an event, it's not public, it's private business.
but the person providing the alcohol needs to have a liquor license. The operator of the venue may not have one, but the person bringing that liquor in is gonna have to have.
bartender.
Right, whoever that is, the distributor, I mean, you can't.
So people rent out a hall and they bring in their own bottles and their own alcohol, they have to apply for a liquor permit.
No, but you can't regulate that anyway, because there's nothing being,
So most places rent a hall, they want to use their bar anyways, hey, use our bar, and they already have a liquor.
but I mean, even now, any restaurant in town, if you denied them a liquor license for whatever reason, let's say they were bad actors and liquor control pulled their license, they can become BYOB, and there's no oversight that you have or the state has. So if someone brings their own, they're not providing it as a service, they're not selling it, They're not advertising it, they're providing it to people privately, just like a backyard wedding or
That's a liability.
for them.
It is, but I mean, it's still very common practice.
Yeah.
Open bar. Okay.
I think you could add language to the front of that venue to make it clear that the primary purpose of the facility is for leasing out for private events, including but not limited to.
Yeah.
Making that clear that that's what that does.
And the most of the hall, they rent the retreat and they can flip it.
And then, there were some other definitions that Daniel had been working on, one to include sign regulation. And so it's this page 2B that's loose. This is where I can pick that up. It's not a full revamp of that section, but it's the definition. A sign, we've inserted the word commercial. So that signs would be related to commercial use.
Is anything residential just be your freedom of speech?
We can regulate commercial speech. So if you put up a Dollar General billboard in your front yard, we could regulate it even because it was commercial speech. But so it really deals with the type of the content of the sign. If it's not,
But you can put up "Have a nice day."
not a sign.
Not a sign.
It may violate other things, setbacks for structures or whatever, but yes,
Are all the, let's say, advertising signs that are about this big that people stick alongside the roads? Signs or those,
depends on what they say.
They're advertising.
they're advertising
Commercial.
You pay
Mr.
it.
T's power washing and they litter the whole street, and then I pull them all out and put them in my trash. Or they come and it's like whoever's landscaping, you know, and they just do a whole street.
Daniel Collins, I like them, who am I speaking to?
On the sign, I see sign now, 20 feet near on a tree, they've got creative, can't get it down, can you buy, there's a ball.
No, the ones I see are just on plastic stakes,
Fast
stuck in the, yeah.
Come back.
They do my yard, I put them in my trash.
Ancillary sign. Secondary signage that provides additional information, including but not limited to address, directions, hours of operation, content information. Sign area. She's just clarifying. So that she, you know, she's doing the permit. Only one face of a double face sign shall be counted, provided that both sign faces are equal in size and only one face can be seen at a time. Makes sense. Temporary sign, a sign which has not been permitted, constructed, or located in a manner to provide for advertising on the premise. Permanent basis. Wall sign, permanent in nature, fixed directly to, painted on, or otherwise inscribed on an exterior wall and confined within the limits of any building in which projects from that surface less than 12 inches at all points. When attached, it shall be comprised of materials permanent in nature, including but not limited to wood, metal, vinyl, glass, or other hard material. Just to get away from and flags, you know, like people putting them up as their marquee signs.
What about electronic signs? You can define anything on that?
Other
Could add-
material.
We could add that. We're not,
I mean,
I mean, the wall signage to me is just where it is, and,
Yeah.
I mean, it's covered on there, so I don't know that
Do you wanna stick it in there?
that to me is more like a type of sign. You could have a wall sign that was.
We already have regulations on the lumens and.
Well, right, but she's working on the whole
Trades and everything
update to
else.
that section as well, but while we were doing definitions, we wanted to. include this one too.
So we don't even find what we're trying to say.
No, but if you wanted it to be included with wall sign, but they could be standard.
But they could be freestanding too, or
Yeah.
like.
I think anybody would know what we're trying to say.
How did the Opera House mural work out? How did that fall under? Which I love it, by the way, I don't, yeah, like,
Not a sign.
I was wondering if somebody else decided, well, hey, the Opera House did it, so I wanna do something on my house.
It's
Oh,
not
I've
actually,
seen it.
it's not advertising anything, it's not it's strictly.
Art.
Yeah. I don't think there's any words on there at all.
It's a great venue for football. That's it.
Yeah, no, I'm other town regulation. I think we were talking about when she was down in and a beautiful mural that Popeye's chicken and put up on building. It was really nice downtown, and the town wanted to keep it. They had to remove any reference to Popeye's. That's how they ended up keeping it.
So downtown Hartford had, we're doing a job down there, they had a couple big murals down there, down.
Across from
Civics.
Works.
I went across the Civic Center, there's one over there, down there someplace.
Outside of the hotel, well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
apartments.
yeah, that's
Yeah, just a young kid with a fireflies in a mason jar,
yeah.
probably 150 feet tall.
It
Yeah,
is.
it's beautiful. Let's see, chickens. So she added something that, the commission spoke to, is that she would, the CEO inspection shall be required to ensure the structure really enclosure needs, and I had offered her some other wording on that. I think the requirements of this section. All regulations.
Yeah.
So,
You here for farmers? I was no, I missed that.
Is usable pasture defined anywhere? Because the way I
Yes.
think Danielle is doing it is she looks at the lot size. She doesn't take off for the
Oh, no,
house and
she
the
takes-
garage
yeah,
and the
no,
swimming pool and all the other things
it's
on the
grazable
property.
land, and you have to subtract steep slopes and wetlands. Yeah, you wouldn't have a whole lot size. And it is defined
Okay,
in the section. So then under, permitted accessory buildings and structures. Just making things more clear that the following buildings and structures are permitted in the rear and side yards provided the accessory structure setbacks are met following the issuance of the zoning and/or building permit. Then she's made a typographical correction at the 05.3. Fences, we're just coming in line with the building code. For when it triggers permitting, we had 8 feet, but they want to build a permit at 7.
Oh.
So we want to make sure that when we're advising people that it's that. And then she's just added more detail on the fences less than 7 feet in height, stone walls or retaining walls, fences shall not require a permit, shall not gonna be flag setbacks. And then we just noted to see the warehouse point district with requirements. So the vehicle, yep, off-street parking, right? All vehicles on the premises must be registered. All non-registered or inoperable vehicles must be, she put, I asked her to, that must be screened or housed from the public view. Because there's no.
So
Yeah, whatever.
Define
street.
Right, well, no, for me it was. How many cars do you let back? Like,
Apparently, there's no limit.
so that,
you can tell your
Yeah.
backyard.
yeah, so.
So red is coming out or the red is new? Red.
No,
Okay, that one's getting,
yeah, it's gonna get edited.
okay.
Like that doesn't make sense. So again. As soon as I mentioned Jersey, that's not. In any case, no trucks, buses, trailers, construction equipment, or any other vehicles exceeding 1.5 ton capacity, excluding recreation vehicles, may be parked for longer than 12-hour period and overnight parking shall never be.
Question. What is your dually truck rated at?
11,000 pounds.
What is it? I'm having.
The GVW is 11,000
So
pounds.
if somebody brings along a dually truck for their business, they can't park in their driveway over the weekend?
That was always an interesting, we had that discussion before, what does 1.5 ton capacity means? Does that mean the load that it can carry? Does that mean, you know, what the GVW of it is?
But some people have dually trucks.
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably carry 2 tons.
They, we'll say it's a work truck, and they bring it home, so they're not allowed to park it there on the weekend.
Fortunate mine goes in the garage.
Well, and now you're not a commercial guy, but somebody has, you know, a lot of guys, park transport guys have big dually truck, and you park in their yard.
And then, I mean, you're talking about in which zones? What, any zone?
He's on, yeah.
So even in commercial industrial zones,
Yeah, industrial zone.
like
Well,
Penske
This is
going
all
on?
street parking for resident vehicles,
Yeah,
just wouldn't apply
so not in their driveway.
off street, so yes, it would be
drive.
off the road.
Oh, okay, in your driveway. So yeah, that's gonna be a problem.
But wait a second, it says even or garage. So how would we regulate what's in someone's garage?
Which says off-street parking or garaging, so it's basically saying how you have to keep the vehicle. So they can be screened from public view or parked inside.
But in the case of a truck, what if it's indoors?
I don't think it matters.
So if it's in the garage, you still cannot have a truck over 1.5 ton capacity?
I don't like it.
That's
No, I don't think if it's parked inside. I don't see how you could get a notice of violation for a dually pickup in your garage.
Or we've got outside and you haul a camper.
the way it's written.
Well, the other thing is, what is capacity?
Yeah,
Is that payload?
or is that
Or
ability?
GVW,
of both?
Well, GVW, I mean. Just ran into this, I mean, GVW on an 18-wheeler tractor is like 80,000 pounds.
Yeah.
But the gross weight is like 19,000 pounds. So you have to clarify what. For a pickup, like 1.5 tons, that's a 3,500.
Well, I mean, yeah, I got an F-350, they call it, I guess they call it a 1 ton. But
So the payload is 1 ton.
they call it a 1 ton truck, but the GVW brings it, it's 2 tons.
So I got a 350 in my garage right now.
Yeah, but if it's, but the,
The difference between the driveway and the GVW is 2 tons, but they call it a 1 ton truck. But that'll carry 4,000 pounds,
but the gross vehicle, I mean, the gross vehicle weight rating is gonna be like
11,000 pounds.
11,000.
I think the intent is regular, like something big, like a big commercial
Tractor.
box truck,
Yeah, but how do you define it?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
the big box truck and.
Do we want it to roll in how it's registered?
No,
No,
because anything under 26,000.
you don't have,
Commercial vehicle by DOT is 26,000,
right?
so you could have a.
Have a town violation.
Well, I think trucks, buses, trailers, construction equipment. I mean, I think, we'll have to- I don't think we solved that problem.
Okay, well, yeah, because, I mean, you throw, there's people in my neighborhood that own a backhoe. Yeah, but it's for personal use, they don't own a business, but they own a backhoe, because they have.
I mean, for me, the question becomes what's appropriate, because in my mind, a backhoe does not belong on a 1 acre piece of property.
Well, Farmer Joe wants to go back on,
Farmer Joe doesn't have an acre,
well,
so
so I've had a backhoe my whole life, and I still want one.
and
My father passed it on to me, I'm keeping it.
so the question becomes, if you have an acre piece of property, do you need a backhoe?
That's up to your definition.
I think no.
But if you keep it in
but-
your garage,
But then, not a lot of people have a room for, in a bar.
Right, so we can't think of Farmer Joe, we gotta think of everybody else in town, because Farmer Joe's the anomaly, right, he's not.
Not East Winter, it's not.
Well, I mean, I think it's less common for people to have a lot of that type of equipment than, I mean, it's here and there, but it's here and there in every town. When we wrote commercial vehicle regulations, the last one that I wrote, we said that it had to meet two or more of the following criteria, and we listed a bunch of things. So does it have lettering? Does it have a backup alarm? Does it have a commercial registration? Is it used for the purposes of business? Is it more than this much
I like
weight,
that.
this much length? And so it checked a couple of boxes.
I like that.
Which could mean that someone's gonna have a backup alarm and is gonna have the weight rating, but not have lettering. It could also, there's a couple
But
of.
in this one, it says construction equipment.
Mhm.
So construction equipment is usually not a vehicle, it is your, trackhoe, backhoe, skid steer, any of that stuff.
But then again, like the way you're talking, that means that, so Susie Q can bring home her triaxle.
So. The commercial vehicle, right, not more than one commercial vehicle, with or without one vehicle, right? And then, yeah, so it's number 3.
I mean, I don't know what Danielle deals with here, but like. Commercial vehicles or residential zones and the equipment is the single biggest resident conflict item, I think.
It's everywhere in East Winter.
But I mean, it's everywhere in Connecticut, but like, it's the thing that people call about, right? My neighbor has a pickup truck, now it's 2 pickup trucks, now it's a landscape trailer, now he has an employee, and those are the things that. I just, it's.
But I mean, this overnight parking, we know that there's places that have these car transporters that they park overnight.
Well, I see you're in the car.
Yeah, I know, that's,
That's
how
good.
do you define that?
To make sure those aren't allowed?
Yeah, correct. Like, so you hold on car transport or like a 28-foot box truck with lettering all over every night parking.
What
I get it.
What I keep leaning towards, but I'm not sold on it, is adding a line in there that talks about used in conjunction with business activity. So you can have your truck or a trailer if it's your personal vehicle or personal this or that, but if it's used
Can make money.
used in relation to your business.
So you can have your garden tractor, but you can't, if you're using it as a business.
No.
Selling mulch. Or if you have a backhoe that you just use in the backyard, fine. But if on the weekends you rent it out or you take it here or there,
It's different,
that's owning a business.
the trailer and it out and using,
like that, because it puts Danielle in a position of having to figure out,
what are they doing with it?
Well, and I
you
think
know.
some of that stuff, find out. Collective one.
Well, I mean, in any aspect, this still should fall underneath the where you park it, the visible from the street, screening and all that other stuff too. So even though it's a permitted habit, not parking it in the front yard.
Are there screening, right? Is there screening criteria for campers and boats?
It's a little bit,
Just can't be in the front yard.
You tag it to that.
See, I don't like that either because some people have real lots and they have their front yard, you can't see their front yard from the road. So that's kind of.
Those probably are people that get complaints though.
So I mean, that's a case where you could say no front yard if visible from the street.
I have to have a camper and it was in violation and, received my notice after the election, somebody sent a complaint. Because they were questioned about their camper in the yard, so first selectman just was ahead, our camper in the yard was restricted, I had it there for one type or another, for and then 43 years, so one type or another, most of the 43 years, it was moved to the back. My front yard is my neighbor's backyard to the left and to the right. My driveway is probably from that wall. A little bit longer to there, and there's nobody across the street, and it's not a building lot across the street. So I'm in violation, but I have wetlands that was created in my backyard because of houses that were approved to build behind me that changed the water course over the years of 43 years that I have to deal with. So my camper, this year when it got put in the back, it got put in on wood. But even with it sitting on wood, with the amount of rain that we have and the water that's coming down to the other people's property into ours, it started to sink. I don't understand why it's a problem. It's a problem because I sit on the board. I get that, and I get that it's in the zoning, but it's not a fair regulation for me nor the person that complained about it. And there's others that I drove around town.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And there's a lot. There's a vehicle right here on Ryan Street. It's parked on the side of the yard, but their side of the yard is on the road. Mine is set back. My camper's back here and the road is over there, but his is acceptable and mine's not because he's on the side. I can't put it on either side of my property because it's too close to the property line. So I have no other course either to have a sink in my backyard, which that's not gonna happen, or I'm gonna be in violation to be taken to court at some time. Right now, I'm not in any violation, although it's sitting in my front yard because I just got back from camping. I have a week to unload it, a week to reload it, then I'm going camping again, and I'm doing that throughout the summer, so I'm not in violation. But come fall time again, I'm gonna be in violation. That's not accurate, just, especially with all the campers that are in town that are far worse than where my camper has been parked. Mine don't affect anybody, except for the guy that got upset.
Well, it's a hard call.
It's just to write to write a reg that is all encompassing and, you know, fits every single scenario is extremely difficult. We don't want to have Danielle faced with the problem of her being the deciding factor. Is this a nuisance? Is it not? Is it, you know?
So, yeah, so if we move on to the next meeting. And this has to do with parking.
Talking about the
Vehicle, so this, yeah, so we're in that whole recreational vehicles. And so then number 4 has been added and it says the zoning officer has the discretion to issue a zoning permit for those situations where circumstances are considered to be extenuating, which may include but are not limited to disaster, emergency health situations. I look at this as seasonal flooding, but weather-induced property conditions such as heavy rains.
could add in there just non-conforming configuration.
And some people just can't get a camper in their backyard.
Yeah,
or
so
side
if
yard.
it's a non-conforming configuration.
I think this needs to be clarified to have some type of time frame on it, because otherwise it's a variance. She can't do that.
No variance.
Well, I mean, the ZBA can issue a variance, but if someone, you don't want someone to be pleading their case to Danielle saying, because of this problem,
Oh,
It's a
Yeah.
permanent.
it's a, so she could issue it on a temporary basis for a period of time. But otherwise it's,
You mean as written with the emergency health situations and disaster?
right, like I think for under number 4, I think it should be, the zoning officer has the discretion to, issue a zoning permit for a period not to exceed something.
So people like me, we should go to the zoning board. So somebody like me and others like me, because I know there's others like me.
You could always ask, you could always go to the zoning board. I mean, you have to demonstrate hardship, but the CEO can't give a permanent variance to them.
I think it's a crappy reg. I think the people enjoy their life, they want to have a camper. I understand most people will try to hide it as much as they can.
Probably the real issue comes down to the ones that are a problem are the ones that are no longer functioning.
Or the ones that are being.
Oh, that's true.
I also think it's a problem if somebody parks it right at the street and can't see. You get out of your driveway.
Well, that's a zone.
Park right.
But they're not in violation because it's still up to their house. Or to the right of the house, they can have it on the side of the house.
On the side of the house, but if they park it at the end of the
If it's up their
driveway,
house,
That's a site plan violation, though.
you go on a Depot Street, the guy's got his parked on the side of his house, but his house is right on Depot Street. You could take 2 steps in and you're gonna hit his camper, but he's not in any violation.
If people say, well, you take your camper from the store, but you know, you can't, you know, it takes a week to load it, you want it at your house, and it takes a week to unload it, and you know, you wanna. Gotta be something we can do better than what we're doing.
Well, we've hit it once before. Days of five. And now we're
Well,
doing some more saying extenuating circumstances, but that's not legal.
Yeah, this is-
it's not legal, right, I think it just needs to be, it just needs to,
Temporary.
I think it just, you know, they should just list a cap, you know, cap the number of total days. So if
Okay.
Well, I mean, this is semantics, but you can issue a temporary, you know, permit to satisfy a complaint. And then it rides till the next complaint arises,
You know, somebody carries those make complaints.
pretty much.
Or they got a vendetta because you're a certain political party.
Then you play the game again, okay, you get another.
I don't play that.
You know,
People have
you play-
their property and they have a right to live however they want on it.
It's nothing with the bolts, it's campers, not many bolts, right? Or
Goes up there.
There's boats out there, you got some in Trombley, you got some, the other end of Trombley, close to the road.
Again, the problem are the ones that are no longer seaworthy, that they're just kind of
Sitting there.
overflowing and sitting there and.
But then we don't have any ordinance either.
Ready for?
All right.
Alright. Temporary permits and seasonal events. So. The temporary events as defined in these regulations. Maybe the only real change is you took out the auctions and carnivals and put temporary events. And we saw that there was a definition of offer tonight. May be permitted in any zone up to 4 times per calendar year. With a zoning permit, provided they are also approved by the chief of police, the official, marshal, and central health district. The zoning enforcement officer has the discretion to require the planning zone approval if intensity of the event warrants it. Right? So it's pretty much the same definition for restrictions that are currently in the regs. And the change here was from 2 times per year to 4. And that's really based on churches who have several a year and getting caught in that, like 1 or 2 situations. That's why. So, under the temporary or seasonal outdoor dining, we had intended to put food trucks in that the last time we added this and it didn't make it. So we have had a couple of different instances where folks are looking to
Okay,
site.
so the licensed food truck is just a license to operate, not a license where you park.
So that's the licensed food truck is the health department. They carry a license.
Gotcha, okay.
And then let's say, for instance, the Sunoco station wants to be able to set up the food truck and a couple of picnic tables. They would go through this process with the site plan and the traffic.
Even if
flow.
it's a one-time event.
Well, this would be like seasonal.
Okay. Got it. But if somebody's having a grand opening, I
No,
want to invite a food truck.
no,
in,
this
they
is,
don't.
in this section, it is, outdoor dining section.
Okay, okay.
So say, problem solved. Kitchen, they want to have food truck, so they,
Which, well, not in our town, but the Barks down in Windsor, that's what they're doing now. They're putting a food truck there all season long.
yeah, we do that. No, Still Hill, they have food truck.
but the temporary events are defined as on private property, so if it's on town property. Doesn't apply.
Well,
So
until
the parades and all the stuff on the streets, if the town does.
that's
We're not-
typically, yeah, we're not doing those. no.
At the
And I
school,
talked
if
to
they
her
do the
about that.
Boy Scouts, it's like, you
I
gotta
did.
leave that
We
stuff
took
alone.
walks and races out of there this
Yeah.
morning.
That's grandfather.
Yeah, it's,
We don't wanna step on anything.
right,
And then anything happening at the park, sorry, parks.
but that's not private property, it's town
Right,
property,
right.
so,
Right.
good. That's what we need to do is
Yeah.
leave all the town stuff alone.
Okay, so then.
Page eight.
Oh, farming requirements. And this comes from Danielle's vehicles tweak. So she wanted to just be explicit. It's, they shouldn't be staged where the spaces are not.
Just so dark on the grass.
2 months to teeth, yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
needs to continue, but. Then, so 3.2. Got the full cutoff and luminaries that have no direct uplight. Image from above the horizon, and I had a note
Yeah.
to, do we wanna do the dark skies? Yeah,
Well, the only thing that pops in my mind about this is what a flag.
That's not like. You get about the, some kind of uplight for backside lighting on.
So you may just want to throw, with the exception of flagpole light.
well, I was, thinking flagpoles are exempt, and so. Do we put it there for the exemption of flagpole, we could say and associated
Lighting.
lighting.
Okay, but I just want to make sure that somebody doesn't turn around and say, no, we're not, we got like flagpoles.
So why is no direct uplight on?
Maybe dark sky compliant.
So this applies to new development or it applies to every house in the
602 is
commercial? Okay, because it's like people have lights in their backyards and
So some people like to put, uplight and downlight on their buildings. To accent their building.
I was thinking trees.
Well, landscape lighting is on lighting.
So can we take out uplighting?
and those along walkways, where they have the, I don't know what you
Take it
call it.
out.
So you don't trip at night.
Like, one more time?
Along walkways.
Yeah, yeah.
So you don't trip, they have, I don't know what you call that, not downwards.
What did they call them?
Yeah,
Taxi lighting or
Yeah.
perimeter.
Walk. Pick up your point.
I mean. There's,
Let me look at the dark sky.
yeah, there might be something for under a certain lumens or something like that.
I
Foot candle.
mean, they're trying to have like a big spotlight shining in the,
But I mean, doesn't like Big Y have a monster flag?
Yes, they
they
do.
do,
Yeah.
that's the monster
Like
light,
a big spotlight.
shining on it.
And
So they say to come to town, you can't put any up lights. Most people do lighting, they'll do up lighting for accenting their building, they're not gonna be crazy. But
usually the building will have an overhang.
Some up lighting,
So,
so this is kind of.
yeah.
Okay. Put that up.
So let's take a look at if the dark sky compliance has anything.
Probably back.
Airport areas,
That's-
airport areas, you have to have it if we're in a flight path or anything like that, because.
Well, I think we have meet standards, and actually, the Leo, who's the executive director of the International Dark Sky Chapter, and they just posted a draft set of regs.
Is that to stop the lasers or just anything?
Any stop light pollution.
From them coming in and just being overwhelmed, not seeing the runways because there's too much light everywhere else.
And also it deals with animals, because I mean, animals that are trying to, be animals and they're next to a parking lot with lights. They also, in his presentation, it's quite interesting. They have some photo of the site with trees. And the trees that are underneath site lighting, they change color and they drop their leaves, totally different
Yeah.
patterns.
Oh,
And I've seen in his thing, you were at the presentation, Kim Casio.
you come to my house, it's like a glow at night. The whole place is lit up.
You can like see the light,
You see it all.
the section of the tree is all different because it's got lights.
They got my house already. They're all down already.
Like a glow lighthouse. It was housing great land. The house, they got all lights throughout the lights.
That's how I look at it. You need a lot of motion sensors.
But
so
anyway,
that people don't break in.
So we can look to see if he has any.
I learned something new today.
So, refuse storage. Just little trees, the 8-inch thing, can't do that unless the thickness is recommended by other things. And then separating which is outside from setback. 10 feet. And, oh, this we're knocking out of here. One of the things we were looking to do is update the fee schedule, separate from our regulations. So she had put this in and I talked to her this morning. One of the things we'd like to do is in the application fee, include legal space. That's a lot.
Newspapers are getting very expensive.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
It's half your budget. Right.
Big fee. So,
Okay.
but I think we need to do that through the fee schedule.
Okay.
And not the regulations.
How is the fee schedule about?
What's, I think they're.
POS.
Sort of like,
Okay.
page 11. Yep. Same.
People permit our fees and improve. That's different.
All right. So that's what we have to offer up. Thank you for the input. We'll take it and come back. We also have, last time we talked about regs, it was that you still have keeping that separate. And then we were going to do like an assigned section. Tonight we just did that. Tackle that.
Alright, so we have nothing on our agenda for correspondence or business meeting. We don't have a need for an executive session, so anyone doesn't have anything else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Frank? Frank.
Just quick, when you're looking at your zoning on the camping, those Boy Scouts and the Girl Scout organizations, we're looking at one time putting in a campground on the property behind what now is the community center. They still have that property. I don't know what their plans are going forward, but just throw it out there if you want to check to see if they have anything still in the works.
Okay.
And was that gonna be just for scouting use, or was that gonna be open to the public?
I'm not sure.
That would make a bit of difference.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's why I'm throwing up there. I don't know what their plans. I haven't been involved in scouting for a lot of years, but when I was, it was their plan. And I know that my Girl Scout troops and John Burnham, Boy Scout, will camp out down there over the weekends. And that's how I found out about them looking to put in a more permanent camping for the scouts.
Okay.
I just throw that out there.
Thanks, you, Frank.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Call for vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned at 7:49.